Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Everyone watching this on the Han Channel 68 Sports Network. Of course, everyone on Sports Central, and of course, everyone on Planet Hollywood World of Sports. It is the DOUG here once again, and it's time for round 2, better known as the conference semifinals playoff picks. But before we get to that, let's just give a quick recap on what happened in the quarterfinals. Montreal defeated Ontario pretty easily 4-2. Tampa Bay just recently beat Detroit 4-3 last night in a great Game 7. As a matter of fact, the only Game 7 of the first round. My Pittsburgh Penguins actually were able to win one game in the series, but would fall to the New York Rangers 4-1. And my mistake, there was another Game 7 I forgot, and I want to forget because it was disappointing. The Washington Capitals defeated the New York Islanders 4-3, ending the New York Islanders' Cinderella story. Over on the Western Conference, Minnesota shocked the world as they beat St. Louis 4-2. CM Punk is the happiest man in the world in Chicago as his Blackhawks defeated Nashville 4-2. Anaheim pretty much raped Winnipeg 4-0. And Calgary pretty much destroyed Vancouver 4-2. So let's get to the picks, shall we? Starting with the first game, Montreal Canucks take on. By the way, as you can see, we're playing Mortal Kombat to do this again. Montreal Canucks take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is the third playoff meeting for these two teams. The teams have split the previous two face-offs. The most recent meeting was in last year's Eastern Conference quarterfinals, in which Montreal swept Tampa Bay out of the playoffs.
Was created by Shinnok.
But keyword here, but Tampa Bay won all 5 games during the regular season this year. Ow. Stop putting me, Quan Chi. Boom, boom, boom. Uppercut. Now, with that being said, this is what happens when you're playing a fighting game. To do this, you get distracted. Anyway, boom. Lightning and Canucks. Lightning won all 5 games in the regular season. And by the way, this series starts May 1st. Just to help you out there, May 1st. First game will be in Montreal at 7 p.m. So, yep. Now, Montreal did have an easy first round, which they did against Ontario. Detroit just ended their series with Detroit this past week. So, blood. So it's a very hard pick for this one. This is the only hard pick I'm having right now in the conference semifinals. I'm going to take Montreal here. Don't get me wrong, Tampa's been a very good team, but I don't think Montreal's better on paper. Yes, I know Tampa Bay may have swept them in the season. The season really don't matter. It's what you do in the playoffs. And I think Montreal's going to win in the playoffs. So Tampa Bay will be eliminated, but I think this will be a 7-game series. It just looks like it to me. This will probably be the one of 2 7-game series in the conference semifinals. Moving on to the next one, the New York Rangers, who defeated my Pittsburgh Penguins, take on the Washington Capitals. Now, these two teams have a rivalry of sorts, and I do mean a rivalry. They don't really like each other, but that doesn't surprise me at all, quite frankly. Eat it, Kyle. Now this is the 9th playoff meeting for these two teams, and they're 5th in the last 7 years. The teams have split the 8 previous meetings. The most recent was the 2013 Eastern Conference quarterfinals, which New York won in 7 games. New York also won 3 of the 4 games in this year's regular season series. Now, of course, this series starts tonight at 7:30 in New York City at Madison Square Garden, one of the best arenas in hockey. Oh, come on. Okay, screw you then, Carlisle. Eat it. So yeah. Rangers and Capitals. I was originally hoping this was gonna be, at least if Penguins lost to the Rangers and Islanders would have been a good series. Subway series, you know, Islanders would at least have a few more postseason things in their home area, but alas, that did not happen. Now, while the Capitals are a good team, I'm taking the Rangers on this one, guys. They just seem to be better on paper. And to me, to be perfectly honest, this is another one I see going 7 games. I think Capitals could steal it if they're lucky, but I'm taking the Rangers on this one. Sorry, guys. Rangers all the way. Moving on to the Western Conference semifinals, the Chicago Blackhawks, which does not surprise anybody, them being here, take on the we're gonna say the St. Louis Blues, but nope, because they decided to choke against the Wild. It's Minnesota Wild. So it's CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar. Where's Paul Heyman when you need him? Right. This will be the 3rd year in a row the Blackhawks and Wild have been in the postseason. Their 3rd meeting overall. And unfortunately, the bad thing about that is the Blackhawks have won both previous matchups. So it's like, yeah. So yay, Blackhawks won the last 2 actually. In the previous year's playoff series, Chicago eliminated Minnesota from the second round in 6 games. By the way, Chicago won 3 of the 5 games in this year's regular season. So yeah, I'm taking the Blackhawks on this one. Don't get me wrong, Minnesota Wild doing this well is pretty good, and I do say congratulations for catching everyone off guard. By the way, the Blackhawks and Wild series start May 1st at 9:30. But I gotta take Chicago on this one, guys. Chicago to me just looks like a better team on paper. Like I said, I do tip my hat to Minnesota for pretty much fooling a lot of people and beating St. Louis, but I gotta go with Chicago on this one. Chicago just seems better. You know, if you're a Wilds fan, hey, you proved me wrong in the last one. Prove me wrong again now. You know, you have to prove everyone wrong, because while you did get past St. Louis, which is an upset, no one's going to take you against Chicago. If they do, they're nuts or they're a fan of the Wild. So, prove me wrong again, Minnesota. Prove me wrong. Alright. And that gives us to the last one in the Western Conference semifinals. Good old Anaheim Ducks, quack quack. We are the Mighty Ducks, taking on the Calgary Flames. Now this one, which the series starts tonight at 10 o'clock in Anaheim. This is only the 2nd playoff meeting between these 2 teams. The only previous meeting was in 2006. And by the way, Anaheim won that in 7 games. By the way, I should say the Blackhawks, I think they will win against the Wild, and excuse me, fucking my throat. The Blackhawks will defeat the Wild in 6 games. Now to Anaheim. Calgary is an interesting case here. Oh, by the way, Anaheim not only beat them last time they faced off, Anaheim did beat them in 3 of the 5 games this regular season. So, yeah, I'm taking Anaheim here, folks. They're just a better team on paper, but Calgary is another thing where they could steal it. So, guess what? This is actually another series I'm going to say goes to 7. The only one, I think, in the Western Conference that goes to 7 this time. So, yeah, there's that. I'm taking Anaheim, just a better team on paper. Too powerful, too strong. Now, I'm not saying Calgary can't steal this one, because, you know, Calgary can if Anaheim gets the shows up. So, yes. So, if everything goes to what I have, it will be Montreal versus the Rangers.
It will change nothing.
Blackhawks take on the Ducks. Now let me know what you think about picks. Do you agree or disagree? Do you think I'm gonna be dancing with the lights on bright, or do you think I will be wrong? Now, there's two things I want to talk about that did disappoint me with the first round. And of course, one of them is the St. Louis Blues. How disappointing is that got to be? You are the odds-on favorite to not only win against the Wild, but most likely to win it in the series. Whoa, Sonya, let me out of the corner, bitch. Bam. And yet you choked against the Wild. And I mean choke. That's the best way to describe what happened. Oh dear. Bitch. So yeah, you choked against the Wild, and I'm sure my buddy Captain Ron was very upset about this. I would have been too. You know, you got beat by a team you should have beat very easily, which you did not. Calm down, bitch. Calm down, bitch. Shit. Shun has gone crazy. Ow. Bitch. Die. Sorry for stop talking, but I was concentrating. So yeah, St. Louis Blues, very disappointing. Of course, I'm also disappointing in my Penguins because they apparently forgot to show up. So yeah. So boop boop boop. Those are pretty much my picks though, and how I feel. I'm very upset with the Blues and Penguins right now. So again, like I said, let me know what you think about picks. Do you agree or disagree? Do you think it's going to be the way I see it? Montreal and not Montreal and New York, and then Chicago versus Anaheim. Or do you guys think something else will happen? Let me know what you think. Until then, this is the DOUG signing off saying have a good day, and I'll see you next time, folks.